Good morning, everybody. Thanks again for tuning in today. My name is Erica, and I'll be leading us through a beginner's vinyasa yoga. So I call this a beginner style, not necessarily because it's easy, but because I don't expect to just call out a pose and everybody know where we're going. So we take some time to get into poses while I talk about alignment. If you practiced with me last Friday, you know we were all about the legs. This week, today, we're going to be focusing on toning the shoulders and the arms. So, before we get started, I want to remind everybody to always listen to your body, and if you have existing medical conditions, make sure you check with your doctor before you start any exercise regimen. With that out of the way, let's get started. We're going to start in a standing position today at the top of our mat. So we'll stand with our feet about hips width distance apart. And let's just put a little movement in our body by rocking back and forth on the feet, taking some nice deep breaths. Maybe a few in through the nose and out through the mouth. And then settle into some stillness, really grounding your feet onto the mat, spreading the toes, lifting them nice and wide, separating them, and placing them back down to the floor. Arms are at your sides, palms face forward, shoulders drop down the back. Gaze is slightly up towards the ceiling and belly drawing back to the spine. Take a few more deep breaths here. Slowly begin to lift the arms overhead, gazing up towards the fingertips. Keep the shoulders relaxed down the back and tailbone tucking under, sending long to the floor. Take a few deep breaths into your chest. Now bend the right elbow, reaching up through the left fingertips. And back to both arms straight. Left elbow bends, reach high, and arms straight. One more time, right elbow bends. Left elbow bends. And both arms overhead. Lower the right arm down by your side and take a side bend into Ardha Chandrasana. So left ribs reaching high towards the ceiling. Keep that belly nice and active. Right shoulder hangs heavy towards the floor. Inhale to bring both arms up. Exhale, side bend to the left arm down. And inhale, both arms up. Interlace the fingers and bring them to the top of the head, pointing the elbows wide out to the sides of the rooms, dropping shoulders down the back, breathing into the chest. Just getting a nice stretch across the front of the chest. Take a few deep breaths here. Begin to draw the elbows together and tuck chin to chest. Stretching the back side of the shoulders now. Getting a nice lengthening in the neck. Lift the chest, opening the elbows, gaze is forward. And then open the arms to shoulder height, palms face down towards the floor. Gently twisting from the belly, we'll twist side to side. Gazing to the back of the mat as we go. So we're still working with the shoulders here. We're adding a twist, so bringing in the spine as well. Nice deep breaths. Find some stillness with arms at shoulder height. Lift both arms overhead, gaze up to the ceiling, and lower to forward fold. So hands come together. I bend my knees, drop my belly to my thighs. Let arms and head hang heavy towards the floor. In forward fold, make sure the weight is rocked forward into the balls of the feet. Hips are lifting high towards the ceiling.
Belly's drawing back to the spine. Shake the head a few times, yes and no here. Relax the neck. Slowly rise to half lift, so we flatten the back. Hands are about at the shins. Draw the shoulders down the back. Extend out through the crown of the head. Gaze is down towards the floor. A nice stretch in the hamstrings and lengthening in the spine. Bend the knees and plant your hands on the mat and step back into a traditional plank position. Wrists under shoulders and drop the knees to tabletop. Round the spine into cat pose, tucking chin to chest. Then lift and arch the spine into cow, gaze up to the ceiling. Rounding back to cat. Lifting to cow. Last time, exhale as you round the spine to cat. Inhale as you lift and arch to cow. And relax to a neutral tabletop position. Lift your left arm up to the ceiling and we'll thread the needle. So left arm comes between the space on the right between hand and knee, dropping all the way down to the shoulder. We'll take a few breaths here. We want to find some relax in the right shoulder, so maybe walk that right hand back some. Again, we're stretching the shoulders here with a bit of a spinal twist. Use your right hand to gently press yourself back to tabletop. Lift the right arm up to ceiling and thread the needle. Slowly press yourself up to tabletop. Swing your legs out or your feet out to one side so that your hips can come down to the mat into a seated position. Then extend the legs forward down the length of the mat. Draw the right heel in close towards the pelvis, letting the right knee drop to the mat. Slight bend in the extended leg, keeping heel to floor. Send the chest forward and lengthen the spine. Lift both arms overhead. Fold into Janu Shirshasana, so belly comes down to thighs, arms drop down to the mat, gaze is down towards the mat. Take a few deep breaths. You want a nice closeness between belly and thigh to help protect the low back. Every time you inhale, lengthen the spine. And with every exhale, see if belly can drop closer to thigh. On your next inhale, both arms come overhead. Keep the arms up as we switch legs. So right leg extends. Left heel comes in. Don't forget about that slight bend in the extended leg. Next, exhale to fold, belly to thighs, and we'll take a few breaths here. Inhale to lift, both arms overhead. Keep the arms up as we extend both legs. Slight bends in both knees. And we lower to Paschimottanasana. Belly to thighs once again. Forward folding is great for lengthening the spine, stretching the legs. Inhale to rise up, both arms overhead, and we straighten the legs. And slowly lower arms down by your sides. Bend your knees, planting your feet to the mat, and place your fingertips facing towards the body, hands behind you. Make sure wrists are stacked over the shoulders. Pressing into the feet and the hands will lift the hips into reverse plank. Aiming to lift the hips as high as the knees, drawing belly in, gaze up to ceiling, and slowly lowering hips back down to the mat. Lean forward, grabbing hold of the legs, spine, lengthen the spine. Take a deep breath or two here. Come into a comfortable cross-leg position. Lift right arm overhead. Bend at the elbow so hand is behind the back. And then your left hand comes on top of the bent elbow for a nice shoulder stretch. Slowly release, placing both hands at your sides. Left arm overhead, bend at the elbow. Free hand comes on top. Gently release both hands at your sides. Take your left hand to top of the right shoulder, give a little pressure, and let head fall to left. Really stretching out the shoulders here, preparing them for our practice. Head gently lifts back to center and we switch sides, so right hand to left shoulder. Head lifts through center and hands at your sides. Rock forward into a tabletop position, wrist under shoulders and knees under hips. Lift up to the fingertips and extend your right leg long behind you, pointing through the toes, heel in line with hip. Draw belly back to spine and lift out of the shoulders. Take a few breaths here. Gaze is down towards the mat. Give me a crunch, drawing right knee to chest, rounding the spine, lifting the belly high and stepping the foot through into lunge. Ankle below the knee. Left toes are uncurled, so top of the foot should be on the mat. Slowly lift both arms overhead into Anjaneyasana. Send the tailbone long to the floor, find length through the sides of the body and out through the crown of the head. Shoulders drop down the back. Slowly bend the elbows, bringing them in line with the shoulders into goddess arms. Chest lifts and gazes up to the ceiling. Inhale as we straighten the arms up. Exhale back to goddess, elbows bend, opening the chest. Inhale, arms up. Exhale to goddess arms, elbows bend. Last time, inhale. Exhale, hands to mat. Extend the right leg behind you and return to tabletop. Left leg extends. We're holding here. Point through the toes. Lift out of the shoulders. We're beginning to warm the shoulders up a bit. Working them with goddess arms. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, round the spine, and step the foot through to lunge. Both arms overhead into Anjaneyasana. Use your next exhale to find goddess arms, elbows bend, chest lifts. And inhale, arms up. Exhale out the mouth, goddess arms. Inhale. Last time, elbows bend with the exhale. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to mat. Extend that left leg long behind you and return to tabletop. Settle into child's, hips to heels, arms extended down the length of the mat, forehead to mat. We'll finish our warm up here with a short rest period. Try to deepen the breath. Make sure knees are separated and toes are touching. If you're uncomfortable in child's pose for any reason, rise back to tabletop. And drop the elbows to mat, palms face down into a modded puppy pose. Gaze is between the elbows. You're more than welcome to take puppy instead of child's if it feels better on your body. Last few breaths here. Slowly rise back to tabletop and prepare for down dog. Spread the fingers nice and wide, tuck toes onto mat. Lift the knees into the air, send hips up to the ceiling, bring belly back towards the thighs. Lift out of the shoulders, spread them nice and wide across the back side of the body. Knees can stay bent if you want to focus on arms and shoulders today. If you want to bring your legs into the equation, try straightening one leg at a time, pressing heels to the mat. Nice deep breaths in our down dog. I'm going to choose to keep knees bent today, but it's up to you. Look forward and step your right foot into lunge. Step up to half lift, hands to shins, lengthen the spine, and find the folds. Belly drops down to thighs, arms and head hang heavy. Tuck your chin to chest. One vertebrae at a time, we'll round our spines up to a standing position. Take your time, allowing the spine to stretch. And once you're upright, chin lifts from chest. Lift both arms overhead, gaze up to the ceiling. Slowly lower back to forward folds, belly to thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten the back, and step into plank. Drop the knees to tabletop. Begin to lean forward so shoulders are past the wrists, and then lower the chest down to the mat, keeping elbows close to the body, and then hips come down. Lifting the chest to baby cobra, using the strength of your core, so don't press into the hands. Shoulders roll behind the heart. Press to child's, hips to heels, or your puppy pose, whichever is preferred. Take just a breath or two here. Try to make the breath nice and deep. Slowly rise back to tabletop and prepare for down dog. Tuck toes on the mat, send hips up to ceiling and belly back towards the thighs. Take a few breaths here. Look forward and step your left foot up to lunge. Step up to half lift, flatten the back, and lower to fold, belly to thighs. Nice and slow, we rise up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Same thing, arms lift overhead, gaze is up, and lower to fold, belly to thighs. Rise, half lift, flatten the back, and step into plank position. Drop the knees, lean forward, chest down, elbows close to body. Lift the chest to baby cobra, shoulders behind the heart, and press to child's, hips to heels. Few breaths here. Slowly rise to tabletop and find down dog, hips up to the ceiling. Make sure you're not pressing slowly into the palm of the hand. Distribute the weight into the upper part of the palm where fingers meet the palm and out through the pads of the fingers. Look forward and step your right foot up to lunge. Step up to half lift and lower to fold, belly to thighs. Nice and slow, we round up to standing, one vertebrae at a time. Last time through, deep breath in, arms overhead. Exhale out the mouth, into forward fold. Inhale to half lift, flatten your back. Step into a plank position. Drop the knees. Exhale as you lean forward and bring chest to floor. Inhale to lift the chest, baby cobra. And exhale to child's, hips to heels. No rest this time. We'll rise right back to tabletop and find down dog, hips up to the ceiling. Take a few breaths here. Warming up our body as we get a little deeper into our practice. I like to find a little movement in my down dog. So you could try two, maybe bending one knee and then the other, pedaling the feet. Look forward and step your left foot up to lunge. Inhale as you step up to half lift. Exhale as you fold. Draw the inhale out as you rise up to standing. Stand nice and tall at your mat. Feet hips width distance apart. Drop shoulders down the back. Take a breath or two here. Nice and deep. Lift arms back overhead. Lower to fold, belly to thighs. Rise, half lift. Step into plank. We're gonna hold this plank here for 5 seconds. We're toning those arms, I didn't forget. We're holding here, don't hold the breath. A very slow 5 count. Drop the knees to tabletop. Lift up to the fingertips. Extend the right leg behind you, pointing through the toes. And give me a crunch, knee to chest, to step the foot through to lunge. Tuck left toes onto the mat and lift that left knee into the air, sending the hips up, drawing the belly in, sending chest forward. Place your hands on your thigh. Lift the chest upright and extend arms overhead. Back to Anjaneyasana. We'll hold it here. Make sure right knee does not pass the ankle. We're gonna keep those arms lifted in the air. Asking them to work, getting some toning in. Breathing into the chest. Shoulders down the back. Open up to the left side of your mat, coming into 5-pointed star. So feet flat and arms at shoulder height. Hold your pose here, don't move. Keep those arms out. Make sure both feet are turned forward. Right foot only turns to the front of the mat, and we bend the knee into warrior two, stacking it right over the ankle. Gaze is out towards right middle finger. Hips and shoulders facing the long side of the mat. Nice strong warriors, keeping these arms high and lifted. Take some deep breaths. Straighten the forward leg and turn right toes to face long side of the mat once again. Bring hands to hips. Turn the toes out so they're facing away from one another. Make sure you have a nice wide stance between your feet. One of your legs' length should fit between the heels. Slowly begin to bend the knees into goddess. So stacking the ankles, knees over the ankles, keeping the chest lifted. Make sure you're keeping the weight towards the pinky edges of the feet. And we'll lift the arms overhead. Bend the elbows into goddess, working those shoulders, lifting the chest. Inhale, arms overhead, gaze is up. Exhale, goddess arms. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, last time. And arms up. Bring hands back to your hips and straighten the legs. Turn the toes in towards one another now. And we'll hinge forward, pausing halfway, chest parallel to floor. Bend the knees enough so fingertips can come to the floor. And we'll walk to lunge. Right foot turns forward to the front of the mat. As I do, my left heel lifts off the mat. I'm back in a lunge position. Step back into plank. Drop the knees. Lean forward. Shoulders past wrist and chest down to the floor. Lift the chest, baby cobra. And press to child's, hips to heels. Take a breather here. Nice deep breaths. Take advantage of this rest period. Let the body hang slack. Slowly rise to tabletop and lift the hips to down dog. Few deep breaths here. In through nose, out through mouth. Step your right foot up to lunge. Step up to half lift. Lower to fold, belly comes down. Rise to standing, nice and slow, taking your time. Lift arms back overhead. Slowly lower back to fold. Rise to half lift. And step back into plank. Holding this plank here, another very slow 5 count as we're toning those arms. Lift out of the shoulders, belly back towards the spine. Don't hold the breath. Drop the knees to tabletop. Lift up to the fingertips. Extend left leg long behind you. Give me a crunch, knee to chest, and step the foot through to lunge. Tuck right toes onto mat. Lift the knee, lift the hips, chest sends forward. Hands to thighs. Lift the chest upright and extend the arms overhead. Anjaneyasana, holding here. Think nice strong arms. Nice steady breaths. Let's try to open directly into Warrior 2 this time. So I'll open to the right side of my mat, right heel rotates down and makes contact with the mat, and I lower my arms to shoulder height. Right, left knee is still stacked right over that ankle. Take some deep breaths here. Keep those arms nice and high. Straighten the forward leg, turn the toes to face the long edge of the mat, and hands to hips. Turn the toes out, preparing for goddess pose, then bend the knees right over the ankles. Find some length through your spine. Inhale to lift the arms overhead. Exhale, goddess arms. Inhale, arms up. Exhale. Last time, bring the arms overhead and bend the elbows. Straighten the legs, bring hands to hips, and turn the toes in. We'll hinge forward, pausing halfway. Then lower fingertips to floor. Left foot turns forward. We'll walk into a lunge position. Step back into plank. Drop the knees. Lean forward, bend the elbows, chest comes down. Lift the chest, baby cobra, and press to child's. Take a rest period here. Slowly rise to tabletop and lift to down dog. Last down dog of the class. Make this one count. Nice deep breaths. In through nose and out through mouth. Maybe find a little bit of movement. Step left foot up to lunge. Step up to half lift, flatten back, and lower to fold. Nice and slow, we'll rise to standing. Take your time. Make sure you're standing at the top of your mat. Your feet are hips width distance apart. Lift the arms overhead. And bend the knees, sending the hips back like we're sitting in an imaginary chair, right into chair pose. Tailbone tucks under, chest stays lifted. Gaze down towards your feet. Make sure you can see your toes. If you can't, send those knees back. Keep the chest up. Don't hold the breath. We're holding here. Weights in the heels. And we'll lower to fold, belly to thighs. Keep those hips lifting high and belly drawing in. And let's find a sway very gently side to side. A little slower than we've done previously. I want you to round the spine back to standing. A little slower. Once you're up, lift those arms up. And settle back into chair pose, bending the knees, tucking the tailbone under. Keep chest lifted, keep arms up. We're not only working our arms, but we're working our core, we're working our legs. We're holding here, we're not holding our breath. And we lower to fold, belly to thighs. Again, find that gentle sway. Let's take ragdoll this time, grabbing opposite elbows. Just getting a little extra lengthening in the spine. You can still find the sway side to side. Release the arms in just as slow as the last time. Round your spine up to standing. Once you make it all the way up, close your eyes for a moment and focus on your breath. Keeping the eyes closed, give me a nice deep breath in through the nose, lifting the arms overhead, exhaling out through the mouth, lowering the arms down by your sides. Again, deep breath in, arms up, eyes still closed. Exhale, arms down. Last time, deep breath in, arms up. Exhale to fold this time, belly to thighs. Inhale, half lift, flatten the back. And exhale as you find a plank position. Once you're in plank, resume your normal pattern of breath, and we're gonna hold here. We're aiming for 10 seconds this time, a nice slow count. If you want a challenge, try dropping down to forearm plank instead. And if you need some ease, you can drop your knees to the mat. We're holding here, not holding the breath. Slowly bring your belly all the way down to the mat. Tops of feet to mat and arms along your sides, palms face up. Turn your head to one side so you can rest on your cheek. Wiggle your shoulders away from your ears. Bring toes together and let heels fall out. We'll take a few breaths here in this rest period. Let body hang heavy onto the floor. Gently turn your head to the opposite side. Bring your chin to the mat and place your arms at shoulder height, palms face down to the floor. Bend your right knee and roll over to your left hip, placing your right toes down towards the floor. Getting a nice shoulder stretch here on the left side. If you want a little more sensation in the shoulders, right arm can lift up to the ceiling. Take some deep breaths into your chest. Slowly roll back to the belly and arm down to the floor. Left knee bends, rolling over to the right hip. And if you lifted the free arm on the opposite side, do the same here. Slowly come back to the belly. Placing hands under shoulders and pressing to rounded child's pose. Hips to the heels, arms along the sides of the body, palms face up. Shoulders melt down to the floor. Slowly begin to rise up to seated. Swinging the legs around front so they're down the length of your mat. Flexing the feet. Making sure your sits bones are grounded onto the floor. Lift the arms overhead, tuck chin to chest. Round the spine, inch a rounded back stretch, lowering hands to knees, pointing elbows out to either side of the room. Relaxing the shoulders down the back. Take some nice deep breaths here. Giving some time for all those muscles around the spine to relax, to release any stress or tension they might be holding. Imagine they're relaxing a little more with every exhale. Slowly lift the spine upright, placing your hands on either sides of your hips, finding some length through your spine for the counter stretch before you relax back to neutral. Bend your right knee, placing foot to mat. Left arm holds onto the bent knee, and we open the spinal twist, placing right hand directly behind us, gazing over right shoulder. Slowly unwind, returning back to center. We'll switch sides. So left knee bends, right arm holds on, and open the twist. Slowly unwind and straighten the legs. Make sure you're sitting in the center of your mat if you're not already there. Keep hands planted behind you, fingertips facing the toes, and bend the knees, feet to mat, preparing for another reverse plank. Press into feet and hands, lifting the hips in line with the knees, drawing belly in, then lowering the hips down to the floor. Inhale, reverse plank, hips lift. Exhale, hips to the floor. Last time, breath in, lift those hips nice and high. Exhale. Sit up, lengthening the spine, holding on to the legs. And gently dropping chin down towards the chest. Place your hands on the back of your thighs and roll down onto your back. Once you're flat on your back, let knees fall in together. Place arms nice and wide at shoulder height, palms face up. Take a few breaths here. Slowing things down as we get to the end of the practice. Straighten your legs onto the mat. Draw right knee into chest, into Appanasana, interlacing the fingers, holding below the knee, pulling thigh close to body, keeping feet flexed. Appanasana is great for your low back, great for your digestive system. We'll take a few more breaths here. If you'd like to bring some sensation into the hips, draw knee out towards the right armpit. Gently release leg onto mat. Draw left knee in towards the chest, feet flexed. If you move the knee out to the armpit on the opposite side, do the same here. Gently release leg to mat. Draw both knees into chest to finish Appanasana, feet side by side. Thighs close to body. Let's find a little rock here, gently rocking side to side. Return to stillness, flat on your back. Place hands on the back of your thighs and extend the legs up to the ceiling into our inversion. Heels over the hips. We'll hold for about 30 seconds or so here, inducing relaxation with this added blood flow to our head. Try closing the eyes and focusing on the breath. If you need some ease in your legs, you can gently bend the knees, drawing them closer to the body, keeping heels elevated. Bend the knees completely, drawing them into the chest. Place your arms back at shoulder height, palms face up. Let the knees fall to the right end to recline spinal twist, and head turns to the left. Make sure knees and feet are stacked. Draw knees back to center. Let them fall over to the left, head to right. Draw the knees back to center. Wrap your arms around your legs, pulling them close to the body. Lift your head to meet your knees. Take a nice deep breath in. Hold it at the top. Slowly exhale, laying flat on the mat, separating legs and arms nice and wide. Let toes fall out, palms face up, and eyes closed. Finish our practice here with a short rest period. Bring the attention to the breath, following the rise and fall of your chest. And settle into stillness.
Slowly begin to deepen the breath. Start to wiggle fingers and toes, bring movement back to the body. Gently roll over to the right side of your body, taking a moment of stillness on your side. You can use your arm as a pillow. Keeping your eyes closed, gently pressing yourself up to a comfortable seated position. We'll end with 3 cleansing breaths together as one, breathing in through the nose and out through the mouth. Today we'll breathe in as much as we can, hold it for a beat at the top, and exhale smoothly out the mouth. Let's start on an exhale, drawing all the breath we have out of the body. Slowly inhale through the nose, filling up the body with breath, holding at the top, and exhaling slowly out through the mouth. Again, breathing in, filling the body, holding at the top, and exhaling. Last breath, breathe in, nice deep breath, holding at top, and exhaling. Take a second to thank yourself and your body for getting you through this practice, and I thank you for letting me lead you on this practice today. Namaste. Thanks so much. I hope you guys enjoyed it. As always, if you have any questions, comments, concerns, please reach out to me. If you liked this style, I teach this every Friday at 10. If you're looking for something a little slower, a little more relaxing, less demanding on the body, try out my stress relief class on Sunday at 11. Hope to see you guys next week. Thanks again.